Unfortunately, we go down with the loss there. We finished the preseason 2-1, still a winning record. Jake Hayner just kept targeting Lucas Crawl. Man, you can't do that. That was really too simple. Let's go over the team statistics in the game. 18 first downs versus 11 by the Houston Texans. On third down, we were 8 of 20 on third down, 0 for 2 on fourth down. Texans was 5 of 16 there. Total plays by the Saints, 16 more plays than the Texans, 77 versus 61. The Saints had 348, count them, 348 total yards versus 235 by the Houston Texans. Total drive, 15 to 14. Yards per play, 4.5 versus 3.9. Passing yards, 257 to 104. The passing game, 28 out of 54. They averaged 4.6 yards per throw. 3.5 by the Texans, 15 to 27. Sacks, 3 sacks by the Texans for 28 to 23 yards, excuse me. Saints had 2. And you looked at the sack yards lost. Rushing attack, that's really what kind of helped the Houston Texans stay in the matchup, was the fact that they had 131 rushing yards against the Saints. 131 rushing yards against the black and gold today. The Saints had 91 yards on 21 attempts, good for 4.3 yards. Texans, 31 attempts. They averaged over 4 yards per carry for a $131. All right. Red zone. Texans converted in the red zone. It was 2 of 3. Saints got down there one time, 1 of 1 in penalties. Saints had 2 penalties for 15 yards. Texans 5 for 45. Saints had 2 turnovers, both interceptions thrown by one Jake Hayner. Saints had the slight advantage in time of possession, 30 minutes, 9 seconds versus 29 minutes and 51 seconds time of possession. So, all right, let's move on into the team statistics for the black and gold. Jake Hayner, 17 of 38 for 172 yards, 0 for 2. In terms of touchdowns, he had no touchdowns, 2 interceptions. He kept targeting the same damn guy. He was sacked twice, had a rating of 36.3. Jameis Winston was 11 of 16 for 93 yards, almost 6 yards per, throw. He had a touchdown, 104.4. He came out at about 12:50 something in the second quarter, and Jake Hayner's had it ever since. Jake Hayner was tied with Ellis Merriweather for the top rusher. He scrambled for a 26-yarder that put him up there. He also had another scramble. He had 32 total yards. Ellis Merriweather, 8 carries for 32 yards in the matchup. Top receivers, obvious with Lucas Crawl. Lucas Crawl was thrown at 15 times in this game, and he had 7 of it. Literally caught half the passes that he was thrown at. He had 106 yards, averaged 15 yards per throw, no touchdowns. Jontre Kirkland was thrown at 10 times, 5 catches for 63 yards. Jimmy Graham was targeted 4 times, 3 yards, had a touchdown and 34 yards in the matchup. Shaq Davis targeted 6 times. He had a very catchable ball. Should have been 3 for 6 on there. He finished with 2 catches for 18 yards. Quan Baker had 2 catches on 3 targets. A.T. Perry had 3 catches for 12 yards on 4 targets. Kendre Miller, 3 catches for 10 yards on 5 targets. Merriweather, 2 catches on 5 targets in the matchup. Going to the defensive side of the thing, Nephi Sewell led all tacklers with 7 today. Jalen Smith was balling. He had 5 tackles in the game. Defensive back Anthony Johnson and Nick Anderson, who's a linebacker, had 5 tackles in the matchup, followed by DeMarco Jackson. Hugo Amadi, Jordan Howden, Jonathan Abram, Alante Taylor, Kyle Phillips all had 3 tackles. The sack guys in the game today, who else we could think about here in the sack? Isaiah Foskey got his sack. Foskey the Snowman got him a sack today. Nico Lalos got another sack in the preseason as well. Prince Emili got, not Prince Emili, Malcolm Roach got his sack on. So those are 3 sacks by the black and gold. No interceptions by the team. Now, in terms of the kick return game, Jontre Kirkland had 2 kick returns for 47 yards, 23.5-yard average. Ellis Merriweather had 1 for 14. And then on the punt returns, 2 by Jontre Kirkland for 9 yards, 4.5 there. Hugo Amadi, 1 for 6 yards. Jontre Kirkland, looking kind of interesting in the kick return game as well. And of course, that's how it ended. As the Saints go down in a loss 17-13 in the preseason. They finished 2-1. And for the family members that really wanted to see the Saints get that dub against the Texans, listen, I'd rather them lose this one than to lose the game that we're gonna go and see. We're gonna meet these people in the regular season so we can pay their butts back when we're gonna tear them up with our first team. So we've seen a lot of sloppy play about our third stringers. That a lot of these guys weren't, don't know what the hell they're doing, making a lot of mistakes. But still in all, when it really counts, we should be able to hammer these people in the mud when we get into the regular season. So it's all gravy. All right. So anyway, shout out to the fam, man. Appreciate y'all being in the stream as well. Much love to the fam. Jody says, facts, if it was another wide receiver trying to make the team, I'll be, you know what? All right. T. Scott, how you doing, sir? Says number 14 drew the ball to crawl every down, stared him down. It was obvious he was, he stared him down, didn't even go through his progressions. That's what he's in, and he's not ready. He's a rookie quarterback, and that's what some of these guys do. They don't understand that you can't do that college crap in the NFL. People are too smart, too fast, and you get figured out quick. So you got to be able to go through your progressions and find better players. There are several drives where Jake Haener, if he would have scanned the field and did what he was trained to do, he would have found better and open targets. Because if you tripling or doubling Lucas, somebody else is open. You just have to be able to find it. Pop TG says, and some folks keep saying to get rid of Winston. Right. You're right. You're absolutely right. And I agree. But, it's true. We got Jake Haener. Let's trip. No, don't be a prisoner of the moment. We still have to be able to see what this guy can do. We're not going to sit here and say trade James Winston because you got Jake Haener here. He never even started or played in an NFL game before. Not one that counts anyway. All right, Caveda says the running back was right in his face for the first down. I know the check down. See, that's what happens when you get greedy. He got greedy on the play, he got burnt. He hits the guy with the check down, he gets the first down. We keep the chains moving, but in the end, you can't be that, blind. BP says give Haener the same treatment y'all give Winston when he messes up. Let me hear it. Absolutely. He deserves to get that because he was doing crazy stuff out there. Jamaica says, I have G Baby and she's listening. Demetrius says, Jay looks like a rookie. He's right. Demetrius, that's what he's a damn rookie. You can't count on him. And that's what Bill Parcells said. See, a rookie count as a loss. That's what Bill Parcells said. Sean Payton feels the same damn way. Parcells was the guy that trained him. Joshua says Haener is garbage. I'm not going to say he's garbage. He's a rookie, man, and it takes time. They got to figure that out. Yeah, Dantzler just stepped right in front. That was easy, man. Easy work on that one. Jody says 15 targets, 7 catches. Yeah, that's less than a half of the catches, man. Crazy. All right, A-Camp's Hit House says that offensive line was garbage. I don't blame James or Haener. Yeah, they were pretty awful too. Quaveda says Jontre was open many times. Haener got to do better. Indeed, bro. We don't have to worry about Haener right now. The preseason over with, we can only focus on a much better quarterback named Derek Carr. Gundam says that thought Jake Haener would be much, much more accurate. Me too. I mean, he just got a little greedy on trying to throw the ball to Haener, man. And I don't know why he was doing that. It's crazy. K-Man said, we talking about practice, man. We talking about practice. T. Scott said Haener need to develop bad. He got plenty of time, bro. We don't have to worry about him for a very long time. Uncle Paulie said that's why the Saints better try to keep Jameis in New Orleans. Number 2 QB for the next 3 years. Haener having Ian Book type problems. Gundam says Foskey sack was awesome. Yeah, he got one, but it's kind of concerning because Foskey couldn't beat the third stringers. He got to improve there. Jody says, I pray to God DC don't operate in that manner. Josh says Haener is not the future. All right. Based on what we've seen tonight, he definitely got to prove. Demi says, fam, until next time. Thank you as well, Demi. Much love to you. Appreciate you. Thank you for being here and spending some time with us. Pops TG said, I think Group A hit that 60-yard. He would have won the battle at this point. I don't know. That would have, even I have to admit, as a starch supporter of Will Lutz, and if he hit that 60-yard field goal, man, that you would have to sit up and take notice and say, you know what? That is quite impressive because he hit a 50-something yard. Didn't he hit a 50-yarder today? If he'd hit a 50, then he hit a 60, man, you would have to sit. Not only we would sit up and take notice, but the entire NFL would say, who is this guy? Who is this guy? And it would make a beeline toward him. So, maybe the Saints did that to kind of cool him down. You know what I mean? Kind of cool him down a bit. Maybe he'll slip through the cracks. We'll see how they handle this, man. But I'm looking forward to some slippery maneuvers by the Saints coming up soon. All right, Valika says, good night, all from New Dad Nation. Stay safe and thank you, Valika, for spending some time with us, Queen. Much love to you. Pelicans Nola. If number 22 for Houston gets cut, yeah, right. He was running like a madman on the Saints defense. All right, send Crawl to Denver. Okay. We're going to send every damn body to Sean Payton. Sean Payton. Josh says Hayner's a rookie, yes, but once again in the second round, there was a better QB the Saints passed up. Oh, yeah, we know. We know, fam. We know. I know. K-Man says Kirkland made a pretty strong case tonight. Return value. Yeah, we know we had, which is interesting because Jontre Kirkland was a late addition. He was a late addition to the team. So for us to be able to get Jontre Kirkland and bring him here, that was pretty awesome, to be real with you, because, we had Jalen Smith was a late addition. We have Jontre Kirkland, who's a local guy who's doing the kick return duties. Could he step in there and kind of get him a kick returner position? I still need to find out who the returners are. It's still kind of looking a little murky in terms of who's going to be returner, right? Mike says some players need to be smacked in them out like this. Let's see how he responds the next time. Yeah, he got to step his game up. I think he'll definitely. Hayner's a smart kid, man. He'll do better. All right. Pops TG says confidence. Jimmy definitely makes the team. A lot of those guys talking that cut and jive or going to crawfish. All right. No, anyway. Yeah, Wallace says keep two kickers. You gotta, there ain't gonna be enough room, but some kind of way the Saints gonna figure a way out of it. Oh yeah, Fry gets cut. Yeah, Fry was horrible tonight, man. He played the worst. He played like a player that don't want to play on a professional football team. He was getting burnt off, flailing away lately. He was just not looking correctly, man. I was making jokes on him, having fun, but at the end, man, he didn't play well at all. But definitely, he probably will end up on the practice squad because he needs to practice. Drum Major says, any last thoughts on Shaq Davis? I think Shaq, and I said this before, I think Shaq Davis should make this team, bro. For real. Now, some of those bad throws by Jake Hayner, imagine they look a lot different when Derek Carr's throwing the ball. He's a 6'5", 220-pound wide receiver with high potential. You put the ball within his vicinity, he got a massive catch radius. He got a can-do spirit. I think you try to make room for a guy like Shaq Davis, but we'll see, man. They got some tough decisions to make on a few of these guys, like guys that I really think should make the team. Well, my thoughts on it after watching this final preseason matchup, some guys that I think should make this team is Shaq Davis. Now, we already established A.T. Perry is going to make the squad, okay? So at the wide receiver, A.T. Perry makes the position. Shaq Davis should make this team. Isaac Yiadom should make this team. Hugo Amadi should make this team. Nephi Sewell should make this team. And I'm going to just stop right there. The rest, Blake Grupe, they'll just pull a Gilligan Island on him and say, okay, he got a kicking that 60-yard field goal. He pulled his hamstring, and now we got to put him on IR. So, yes, you definitely would pull a Gilligan like what Sean Payton did, and he ends up on the list. That would be cool. But, yeah, those guys should make the team. Now, who should make the team? Traquan Smith shouldn't make the – well, he'll probably – the Saints going to IR him. That's a way to keep him on the team. Zach Bourne got outplayed by several linebackers with less experience than him. Nephi Sewell outplayed Zach Bourne during the preseason and in the training camp. So did DeMarco Jackson. And so did Jalen Smith, who's a latecomer to the party. So you had three guys that outplayed Zach Bourne. Does the Saints say, well, we're going to keep Zach Bourne anyway? Dennis Allen had some crazy cuts last year. We anticipating him doing the same thing this year. So we'll see how it all falls, man. We'll see. All right. So yeah, we ain't got long to wait. All right. Notorious says corner depth is thinner than pantyhose. Knife Ward says, Young City says Shaq Davis makes the team. Zach says the bar is too high on Hayner right now. Let's let him get more reps before we come with the garbage claims. All right. That's fair, Zach. Thank you. Jody says Jameis is starting QB. If he had the skin tone, he would be the face of the franchise. Like it or not, I stand on that. All right, Jody. Appreciate you. All right. Slim, shout out to Slim. Says AT and Shaq better make the 53. All right. Shout out to you, Slim. All right. Yeah. Notorious says Fry about to be working at Daisy's Fried Chicken. Church's Fried Chicken. All right. Eric says Fry is a new fry cook at McDonald's too. ZQ. Oh, yeah, absolutely. And he, be careful around the hot grease. That's all I got to say. Who that for life? Chris says we got to stay healthy because if that's us finishing the game, going to be a long season. Remember, there's a lot of people. These are a lot of third string guys, man. So I would not really kind of focus on this stuff. This is going to look a lot different when the starters in there, But it definitely, to me, shows like Andrews Pete playing a lot of minutes tonight in this game with a lot of the backups. Showing I don't know if he catches up to speed, but it appears that Hurst will be a guy that's ahead of him. I don't know what's wrong. Andrews coming off injury. They're trying to give him the reps to catch up. So we'll see how it all shakes and go. But by Hurst, by the way it looked like Hurst is going to get that start over the top of him right now, but we'll see. Willie said, what's up, WB3? Says, I like how y'all give Derek Carr a pass after 9 years of losing with the Raiders organization. I don't know who giving them a pass, Willie. Who giving them a pass? All right, K-Man says Kirkland might make it over Shaq because of special teams. Might have a point there, K-Man. I still say that Shaq Davis is, the Saints might keep 6 people, we'll see how it all, 6 wide receivers that is. 504 Cole says if Shaq and AT makes the 53, where does that leave Traquan Smith? It leaves him on the Saints. Listen, I'll be surprised if they cut Traquan Smith because everybody's focusing on it. They might just do it because the attention is on it. Like I've never known this much attention to be on a player that plays for the Saints that's hurt right now, that's not giving us anything. And it's like because people are recognizing that that's not how it's supposed to go. Like we've given you all of your rookie contract and then an extra year to see what you're going to do. And you have not lived up to it, whether it's injuries or whatever the case may be. It just didn't work out. He may need a breath of fresh air somewhere else. But everybody's seeing it. They're pinpointing it. It's become a running gag among the Who Dat Nation about Traquan Smith. It's become a running gag. So perhaps we see the Traquan Smith comedy act, and they decide to say, you know what, they're right, we're going to pull it. Because the reality is the Saints are not playing with Traquan Smith either. They brought Shaq Davis and they drafted A.T. Perry. They got guys that want to add to the team to give them value at the wide receiver room. Now, this could happen. I said this before. Don't be surprised if this happened. That ultimately ends up happening is they, knowing that Traquan Smith is hurt, they put him on the IR, which is another way to stash talent. And then they can bring him back off the IR if they need him to. He's cheap and he knows the system. So don't be surprised if you wake up tomorrow or into Monday and hear that Traquan Smith was placed on IR for the Saints. Now, remember, some of these other guys that got hurt, and we had Lachey, the offensive tackle, and a few other people that when they got hurt, they got injury settlements and they were released. Why is that not the case for Traquan Smith? Do you see what I'm hitting at? So don't be surprised if that might be a play that they do, man. I'm just throwing that out there because I know their games. Christopher says, cut Pete, keep Traquan Smith. He's a All right. K-Man says, where do we send the 53-man roster to, Q? What you do is you send it to info@whodatdaily.com or you send it to the PRO Media Network at gmail.com. Either one would be fine. info@whodatdaily.com, whodat.com, whodatdaily.com, or you send it to the PRO Media Network at gmail.com. I'm telling you, it's not easy to pick them 53 guys. Ryan says, Foskey was flying off the edge. All right. Thank you, Ryan. Appreciate you, bro. All right. Willie says Traquan Smith might have an email on Mickey Loomis. Something going on, right? Cut 27, please. 27 is Isaac Yidam. You want to cut Isaac Yidam? Cut Kid. Okay, yeah, Kid. Remember, Kid was playing. He playing out of position. They trying to get him to play the tackle position. Remember, he played guard for the Saints. Playing outside, playing that tackle position, you dealing with them fast guys. That's a whole nother level. He struggled mightily with that. I don't think that's a good thing for the Saints. Had he had played that position a lot better, he probably would end up having a spot on the team because he made it last year. It's a lot stiffer competition for the backup offensive lineman. I, per se, on my 50-man, don't have Lewis Kidd for obvious reasons. Tramal says Q only one that wants Traquan is Sean Payton. Well, he need help out there, but Traquan's hurt right now. That's another caveat. You can't trade him. He's hurt. He got a groin issue. Jody says, as Sean loves his team constantly by my guy, if you want to compare player for player, JW actually has the advantage over DC. And Quavada says Traquan got emails on Gale. Oh no, please, no, not Gale. Not Gale. All right. Smoke Monday is cut Tuesday. Yeah, you there are quite a few people that I can call out right now. I don't think they're going to make the active roster. Lucas Crawler's not going to make the active roster. Quan Baker's not going to make the active roster. These are practice squad guys if they clear waivers. Quan Baker, let's start at the top. Jay Vargas, the backup fullback. I like his name, but he ain't do enough to push out Adam Prentice. The wide receivers like Quan Baker. Who else we got? Quan Baker, and John Trey Kirkland. I don't know, Lynn Bowden Jr. where he falls in this mix, dealing out if they looking at him as the return man. And to be honest with you, I think out of the more accomplished returnman we have that's not named Rashid Shaheed is John. We looking at guys like Lynn Bowden Jr. Where does John Trey Kirkland fit? They got a lot of looks at him. Could he kind of move past somebody? The kick returner position between the Lynn Bowden Jr. and the John Trey Kirkland, that's up for interpretation big time. But Lucas Crawl, Jesse James, JP Holtz, those guys are practice squad guys. Landon Young, Lewis Kidd, who else I'm thinking about too? That Chuck Filiaga, the other guy Kramer, from the guy Tommy Kramer, the backup offensive lineman. That them guys they're gonna get cut. The defensive end Jaron Cage, Prince Emili, who was doing some stuff in there toward the back end of the game. Nico Lalos. Those guys to me going to get cut. The linebackers Nick Anderson, Anthony Orji. Nephi Sewell should make the team. Zach Bourne should get cut. I just don't believe that they will. The Saints could very well keep 6 linebackers with Nephi Sewell. One of them, Ty Summer, was a guy that played good special teams wise. What did they do with him? So it'll be interesting to see where some of these special team linebackers go. Isaac Yiadom, I believe Isaac Yiadom did well enough to make the team. I know Ugo Amadi did well enough to make the team. Lonnie Johnson Jr. was another guy that should make the team. But Jonathan Abrams is going to get cut. Smoke Monday is going to get cut. Hetley, the backup punter, he's going to get released. So they got some guys that's going to end up getting released. They clear waivers. We bring them onto the practice squad. And, of course, the Saints going to add guys from other cut teams as well to try to fill up their practice squad anyway. So, no, we don't cut Andrew Axon. Can we cut Jake? No, they're not going to cut Jake, bro. They're not going to cut Jake like they're not going to cut Isaiah Foskey the Snowman. They're not going to do that, for real. All right. So thank you for that. Chris says, after seeing how we performed in the preseason, how do you think we do on offensive production? Because last year I felt that our main issue was the constant 3-and-outs, O-line penalties, and pre-snap penalties. Yeah, absolutely, Chris. Thank you for the question. The way I see it, bro, is that I think the Saints will perform better because we lacked, and I ain't just saying this about James. Remember last year, and I kind of remember the details underneath the situation that occurred. Like James was coming off of injuries, healing up, and then picked up more injuries into the season. So he wasn't totally 100% solid like he is right now in terms of his health. So he was shaky, coming off injuries, then picked up more injuries, not good. Was playing while injured, not good. Then here comes Andy Dalton coming in, not good for a long period of time. Andy Dalton comes in for 3-4 games for you. That's all he can do. He's not supposed to start a full season for you. You doing that, that's way beyond his capabilities at this current stage of his career. Maybe 5+ years ago, Andy was the man. He coming in and winning some games. But this stage, late veteran backup quarterback, no. And he never, and then truth to the matter is it was a unique situation for Andy Dalton down here because he wanted total captaining of the or control of the Saints offense, which the Saints just didn't give him because they were pairing his time with Taysom Hill. He even complained to Dennis Allen about it. Dennis Allen said it in the press conference. And then the next guy that came up to the press conference after Dennis Allen said that, yeah, he kind of such and such. They asked him about it. He said, no, I don't feel like that. I feel like I'm such and such. No. Then Salas just said your ass didn't like the fact that you had to split reps with Taysom Hill. So he never felt comfortable like the offense was totally his. So that was an issue as well. So we don't have that this year. And so far as when Derek Carr comes in, they know that it's his team, right? He has leadership capabilities. So you have that. He's healthy. He coming into it with a chip on his shoulder. He pissed off what happened to him last year. He had all the noise about him being under the middle of the pack or whatever type of quarterback. So he knows that he's making a step to a better team, a total better team. No disrespect to the Raiders, but the Raiders know what they're working with over there. They know the type of dysfunction that they have and half-ass teams and all this kind of stuff. They know what they got over there, and that the Saints have a better situation for Carr, and because it was mapped around Carr when he got here. You got Michael Thomas here. You got Chris Olave. You got Rashid Shaheed. All these guys are ready. Elvin Kamara, Jamal Williams, Taysom Hill, Jimmy Graham, Foster Moreau that he had with the Raiders, and Juwan Johnson, and whatever else the Saints going to throw at you. You got all that. So you can't help but to think with a diverse offensive skill set like that and the continuity of the line that it has last year, that we should be able to produce. And I'm saying the Saints should have a top 10 at least. I'm saying at least now, at least a top 10 offensive unit in the NFL, at least. At the best, a top 5 unit, because that's how good they are. There are very few offenses in the NFL that has that type of firing power that the Saints have, and the scheme to get the offense or the offensive pieces going. So in essence, I don't want to go about a long spill about it, but I think 3 and outs is something that I don't think we have to. I think every now and again you go through you have to make adjustments on how you play. So we'll have some 3 and outs at times, but constant 3 and outs with the firepower we got for the Saints, no way. We should be able to be at least at the very least a top 10 offensive unit in the entire NFL, at least a 10. All right, so thank you for that, bro. And those penalties, man, we'll see, because that deals to the discipline and the overall intelligence level of the team. If guys start false starting, Carr's got to get on them, because we know Dennis Allen is, he might fuss a little bit. We'll see. But Derek Carr's got to get on him. We know Carr's going to get on him. He got to check them offensive linemen if they're doing false starts, or if they're dropping the ball, or they're not where they're supposed to be. We know Dennis Allen's the head coach of the team, but that's Derek Carr's offense. He has to take control and tell them guys, hey, man, you lined up wrong. Hey, man, you need to do this. Hey, man, get your head in the game. What are you doing? Such and such. That's up to him to channel a lot of that stuff. So I think there'll be a lot more improvement there, to be honest with you, fam. I really do. All right, thank you. Chris says, literally, the Geico insurance commercial lasted long on the field and offense. Yeah, we got to do something as well. So anyway, yeah, John J. Kirkland was did some things out there. Yeah, Anthony Orgy, yeah, he getting cut. Anthony Johnson is definitely getting cut. Those guys are getting cut, and they'll be cut, but they'll end up on the practice squad. All right, a lot of those guys end up on the practice squad. School says top 10 offense, top 10 defense, plus North schedule. It can be a deep playoff run. Indeed, man. That's what a lot of the black and gold family members are feeling. Big Sean says that's exactly why I'm continuing to say that James needs to be wherever SP is. He plays his best ball under him. This is still a system here, though. We still got SP Sean Payton system here. All right, Jody says DC is going to ball out this year. If he stays healthy, I just pray Pete can put the talent in a position to show out the offense Drew ran last year of his career. Shouldn't be the goal. No, absolutely not. You got a guy that can actually get the ball down. If you remember, Drew Brees, as great as what he was a champion, like one of the all-time greats in accuracy, because his deep ball diminished. So he had to dink and dunk it down the field, and he was really accurate. He knew where to place the ball, and he made life easy on his wide receivers. He didn't set his wide receivers up, the majority of the time. He did what he was supposed to do. Carr has the ability, and his accuracy improved over the years. But his best thing is to get the ball downfield. That makes life easier on your offense when you got a deep ball thrower who can get the ball down the field, and you got wide receivers that can go and get it, that create space everywhere, make life a lot easier for the Saints offense. That's what I'm saying. They not only have, because it's different when you have the scheme, but not the personnel to run the type of scheme that you want to run. You see what I'm saying? It's a whole nother world when you got the horses to do what you want to do, the ideas to make it pop. You got the ideas, but having the ideas and the resources with the ideas, that's a whole nother level. And that's what the Saints have. They have the resources and they have the ideas to make it work. So we'll see how it all plays, fam. But yeah. All right, Quavada says Pete looked bad. That's why Pete was getting those extra reps tonight, man. We'll see. How it goes. Alpha says 66 is a bum. Jake Hainer had 0 time to throw. 66 is Lewis Kidd. Let's just get his number right, Alpha. He struggled. He's a left tackle, and he's not really a blindside tackle. He's really supposed to be playing at the guard, but the Saints was trying to find some type of way to see if they can know he could play a little guard. Can we play tackle? If he'd have showed him to play tackle, he probably would have made the team. But nah, he was getting beat badly. He's not a tackle. Not everybody could be everything. You know what I mean? Some people are better at it. Some people apply themselves more. They know what to do. Some people just don't have that ability to do that. And he's a guy that struggles at it right now. Iceman said Traquan should have been cut. As far as Carr goes, I need to see it to believe it. Okay, thank you. Iceman, Molly Mall says Jake Hainer will be a 3 on the active roster since he doesn't count for the NFL rules. He will be a number 3. The Saints will not practice squad him. Iceman says Carr had talent on the Raiders. I thought you liked Waller and Devontae Adams. I do. But that's all he had. You had Josh Jacobs too. But come on, bro. You have Carr, you have Josh Jacobs. I like Waller. I love Waller and Devontae Adams. I get you on that. But that's one wide receiver, a tight end, and a running back. The Saints have 3 wide receivers. They have an all-time great Michael Thomas. Chris Olave is a young budding star. Rashid Shaheed's another guy that's on the cusp of being something really special. We already know he's special for what he's doing. He's just going to improve. You got Jawan Johnson, the NFL's best kept secret, as I call him. Foster Moreau, solid. Jimmy Graham is back. Taysom Hill is a utility knife and sometimes the fastest man on the field. Alvin Kamara is a top 5 running back. Jamal Williams can go somewhere and start for people right now. Kendre Miller is a guy that's also going to be doing great things. So, do I need to keep naming these people? We talk about 3 guys, Jacobs and Waller and Adams. Okay, but the Saints got like 5 plus 6, 7 people that are just you have a difficult time stopping. That man ain't have nowhere close to that. That's a huge difference. But having Devontae Adams on one side, Waller's at the tight end, and then Josh Jacobs, that's terrific. But the Saints are on another level with this talent. That's my point. All right, shout out to Kelvin, man, from Phoenix, Arizona. Shout out to you, Kel. Appreciate you. And also, Marley says, "You don't forget about Taysom in the red zone." Yeah, indeed, man. Indeed. Jarrell says we keep Nico Lalos. I don't think so, bro. I don't know how. Well, unless you keep an extra spot for him. He definitely should play his way into it. I just think Nico Lalos is at a position where the Saints they seem pretty good. Like they have. You're not going. Nico Lalos had outplayed Isaiah Foskey, but you're not going to put Foskey on the practice squad, a 2nd-round draft pick, because an undrafted guy named Nico Lalos outplayed him. You're not going to do that because of it's the strength of the draft pick. That's not going to happen. So do you keep Nico Lalos? Because Passanio has been playing really well. He gives you value inside and out. They throw him in the NASCAR package. You slid inside, and he still gives you value. Carl Granderson ain't going nowhere. Cam Jordan obviously not going nowhere. Peyton Turner's not going nowhere, and those guys are there. So I don't know. Do you keep Nico Lalos? I think he's at a bad position to make the team. Just like I would say, if Lucas Krull was balling and caught everything was thrown to him, he still would not make the team because it's at the bad position because they got 4 guys at the tight end position. It's just one of them situations, he's at a rough position to make the team at. Chris says, don't forget the top 10 defense that he never had. Indeed, that's what I'm saying. But see, when people talk about it, man, we talk about one guy. You had a good guy at the running back position, one guy at the wide receiver position, one really good. And these are really good players for the Raiders at each one of those positions. But how does Devontae Adams look when he's flanked by a Chris Olave? How does he look when he's flanked? And we talk about Josh Jacobs, who's a really good running back. But Jamal Williams is just as equally as good as a Josh Jacobs. Jamal Williams had 17 rushing touchdowns just last year. Led the NFL with 17 rushing touchdowns. Many of them is in the red zone. He is Alvin Kamara's complement. You see where I'm going right here? Nobody had this type of stuff, man. I mean, you would have to go back to some of the most iconic offenses in the NFL that had all of these great players at every position. We're talking about Jerry Rice and John Taylor what was the tight end they had? Brent Jones out there. You know, you had Roger Craig and Ricky Waters or whomever. I mean, you talking about or the greatest show on turf for Marshall Faulk, when he had Isaac Bruce and Torrey Holt and the tight end that they had. I mean, we talking like iconic players at that they were flanked by each other, like they complemented each other at that level. You know, you just don't see that type of stuff every day. And the Saints went about their business to add all of that around. So you're not going to see. I mean, I keep telling people you got a healthy Mike Thomas and a Chris Olave's flanking him. I mean, the dude is the perfect guy opposite of the possession guy that Michael Thomas is. This guy that can catch everything and take the roof off the defense. I mean, that keeps Michael Thomas from being double teamed. It allows him to play free underneath, making plays. He don't have to worry about being doubled. And remember, Mike Thomas did a lot of those things. Remember, people forget Michael Thomas, man. What he caught the single season catch record, blew it away, took it and set it. You see, that's greatness. And then he's been battling injuries the last several years. He's healthy. And he did most of that stuff without a serious compliment, without a good compliment. You had Traquan Smith flanking him. Traquan Smith. You know, imagine that's a whole nother world when you have that. That just all of those guys work together, not to mention him and Mike Thomas and Chris Olave from Ohio State. Those guys cool. They're cool with each other. They work. So is Rashid Shaheed. They all cool. They all really cool. They on the same page. And Mike Thomas got him balling. He wanted Derek Carr here. All this stuff works together. So it ain't no egos involved. It's a team concept. We all got chips on our shoulders. Mike got a chip on the shoulder. He said so on the interview. Hell yeah, I got a chip on my shoulder. Why? Because Michael Thomas got something to prove to himself and to the rest of the world. So does Derek Carr. So does the rest of the Saints. So does Dennis Allen. So does the entire Saints organization who had missed the playoffs 2 straight years. All of them got something to prove. We all got chips on our shoulder. I got a chip on my shoulder. You got a chip on. It's a whole dance, a ruffle factor around this bad boy. We all got chips on our shoulder. It's just ridiculous, man. But yeah, it's a big difference between what the Raiders had versus what the Saints got right now, man. I'm gonna keep it real with you. What's up, Lee? Shout out to you, bro. Appreciate you being in here as well. Shout out to the fam. Avis, how you doing, sir? He said, what do you think about Ronald Curry's play calling tonight? I thought it probably would look a little bit better, bro. I thought it was kind of vanilla, and I understand what he was doing. And maybe this is not a good game for me to gauge Ronald Curry's play calling ability, because a lot of times, like I told someone else a while ago, is that the play calling looks better when the execution is more crisp. You know what I'm saying? It looks better as opposed to, guys dropping the ball or whatever. And we had a lot of backups. But I thought that he wanted to do some stuff, he being Ronald Curry, but he had to keep it, basic and vanilla as possible, because we're going to see this team again in the regular season. So we can't give them too much, you know what I'm saying? So it was kind of basic play calling, but I know the guy is actually better than what he showed tonight in his play call. Willie said, I think Vasquez trash can't get off the block. Vasquez? Who's Vasquez, bro? You mean Garcia? Who's Vasquez, Willie? Walltown says Pete looks slow. He was getting bullied. Yeah, he need to get right. Big Bull Hoffa, shout out to you, bro. Says Foskey the Snowman was getting washed up out there. He did get a sack. He got to improve. Yeah, he was getting stonewalled by third stringers, man. That can't happen, bro. He a second round draft pick. We definitely look at you different. Yeah, no, nothing on him yet, JT. On him yet, bro. We know that he was that he got banged up, and he had like some kind of issue with his shoulder. He tried to take on number 22, and number 22 put that powwow on him. You know what I'm saying? So we'll see how that all works, man, moving forward. But yeah, man, right now the Saints, finished the regular season, man, and we just got to make sure that we just keep everything in front of us, man. And now the cut day come, they break out the big rusty ass scissors, and we'll see exactly what the black and gold end up doing with the big rusty ass scissors going forward, man. So yeah, it's gonna be fun. But like I said, a couple of these guys are gonna get cut, and we'll just have to see which ones it is, man. And like I said, I have my my depth chart that I did is on the whothatdaily.com link in the description section, or you can simply go to the community section of the page. The article is placed there where you guys can be able to go ahead on and check it out. But yeah, it's just one of them situations where we just didn't look, the part. So anyway, fam, let me go ahead on and get it chimed up, and let's get Dennis Allen in here, and let's hear from Dennis Allen as he talk about the team. Y'all put one in the chat if y'all can hear this, man.
Yeah, disappointed in the loss. Thought we gave ourselves plenty of opportunities. I thought we had a couple of chances in the last couple of drives that we didn't take advantage of. We lost the turnover battle really for the first time, so thought that was a big difference in the game. But yet there was, a lot of positives, particularly early in the game. I thought we did some good things. It was nice to see Jimmy had a couple of nice catches, contested catches. So I'll open it up to questions.
Do you feel like you needed to see those contested catches going into this game?
Yeah, I think that was one of the things that we've said this, that, we don't have to see it every day from these guys, particularly the veteran players, but yet at some point we have to see it. So, and we saw it tonight.
Yeah, does it kick from 50 way more heavily than one from 60? Just given that that's probably a more common player, is it kind of
I think it's all encompassing. He nailed the 50-yarder, went right down the middle, and then the 60-yarder just hung it out to the right, a little bit, and had plenty of leg. And look, I mean, percentages of 60-yarders aren't very high in our league, but yet I wanted to give the kid a chance to see what he could do, and he just missed the kick.
Dennis, were you pleased with Brian Brzez's activity in that first half? Just how he was?
Yeah. I thought he was active in the game. I don't know what his final stats were, but I did think he was active in the game, both in against the run and with the pass rush. So I thought I saw, looked like there was a couple of good things I saw at Isaiah Foskey also in the game. So look, we got some tough decisions that are coming up. We got a lot of good football players on this team, and we got to make some decisions over the next 48 hours.
so are you where you want to be at the preseason?
I don't think you're ever where you want to be or where we need to be. We're in a race to improve, getting ready for the opener this, here in 2 weeks from today. But there's a lot of positives with this football team right now, but yet there's certainly some things we got to improve on.
How pleased were you to see the penalties in particular from it now?
Yeah, it was much better. It was much better in the game. I think we had one false start, and I think we took too long at the line of scrimmage and needed to kind of get into the flow a little bit and get the snap going. So, but I thought that was a step forward.
How have you seen Jimmy kind of progress as he's gotten more snaps and got snaps under him?
Yeah, I think really probably since the Charger practices, I started to see, some signs of the mental picture that I have of Jimmy Graham. And then again, I saw it this week in practice, and I saw it carry over into the game. So that was a positive.
How do you feel Isaiah Foskey's progressing?
I think he's getting better, yet he's still a rookie and still has a long way to go. But he's made significant strides from where he was, in OTAs and even the first part of training camp. So, and look, that's what you want to see. You want to see a guy that every time he gets an opportunity to go out there and get more reps, you see a guy that's getting more comfortable in what we're asking him to do.
Dennis, how difficult is it going to be next 40 hours?
Well, look, this time of year is always difficult, and probably more difficult this year. And that's a good challenge to have, a good problem to have, knowing that, we've got a lot of good football players, and we'll go through this tomorrow and have some significant meetings to talk about it, and we'll pick the right 53 for this team.
More difficult than others just because you have a lot of guys
Yeah, I think we just got a lot of good players, you know, and you can't keep them all. So there'll be some tough moves.
Will you guys do everything on Tuesday, or will we kind of?
Yeah, we'll discuss it tomorrow and see where we're at.
I know we're up for Trevor Penning tonight. Is that kind of just a sign that you've seen?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think we've seen some improvement out of him, and I think where we're at right now with where he is, and then, you know, you kind of take into account that, you know, last year in the preseason, in the last preseason game, he was injured, you know, so I felt good about where he was at and didn't want to risk putting him out there. He's getting closer. He's not full go yet. So, but he's continuing to rehab.
How do you go about evaluating something like that with some of these guys that maybe haven't had a lot of exposure to dealing with injuries and stuff?
Well, look, I mean, you know, some of the guys, you know, you've got some, you know, significant exposure to in terms of past experience. And then you got to go back to what you saw early on in camp. And yet, you know, gave some other guys some opportunities to try to impress. So, yeah, I think we'll look at all that and we'll take it all into consideration, and you know, we'll make the moves that we think are best for this team. Okay, guys, thanks.
All right. That's old Dennis Allen there, man, talking about everything. And listen, we had. All right, sorry about that. We had a pretty damn good, you know, opportunity to see what the Saints were comprised of in terms of them stepping up and handling the business. We know what our backups are going to ultimately end up doing, and this gets to the point of the year where it's time to start cutting people down. And like I said, I think it's going to be some tough decisions on some. I'm talking about maybe about 5 players that are really like toughies, you know, that you would look at and say, okay, well, you know, is this guy going to make it versus this guy or what have you? So there are about 5 toughies that the Saints are going to deal with. And like I said, we get to the portion of the show, the year last year when we had some serious decisions that we were supposed to make that we didn't make, and Eric Wilson and Kirk Merritt, those guys got released and they ended up on the practice squad. The Saints got some thinking to do, man. You know, they got some thinking to do. Who's going to be, you know, kicking? You know, who they going to pick to keep on the team. And, you know, I did my best to try to, you know, go over. And I made this one. I kind of worked on this one this morning. Y'all go to whothatdaily.com and read it and share it around. This was my projections for this morning. I did it obviously before the game. And I just kind of laid out some of the guys that I thought was going to be. I was like, okay, you know, I thought, you know, I'm thinking 6 wide receivers. I'm thinking to keep, you know, of course, A.T. Perry. I'm looking at Shaq Davis, and I'm saying who's going to be my returner, because I don't want it to be Rashid Shaheed. You know, my offensive lineman that I'm keeping outside of the 5 starters. We talk about Ramczyk, Penning, Pete, McCoy, Ruiz, and Hurst, who's the swing guy or whoever started there. But those are the 6 guys that you'll have. And then the other 4 will be, to me, Nick Saldiveri, Storm Norton, and Max Garcia. That's what I'm thinking about going. That's my call on it. The linebackers, you know, I made the call on them, but, you know, I don't think the Saints release or let go Zach Bond. You know, for whatever reason, they continue to hold on to these guys with some type of thought process that they'll eventually cut loose, like a Caden Ellis did, who's a 7th-round draft pick. So I don't buy what their logic is, but it does happen. Yeah. Well, I mean, I think it's changed. I think they changed it. Maul, I think they changed it, man. Yeah, see, you got 5 of them. See, it's DeMario, Pete, Jalen, Zach, and DeMarco. So it's 5. They changed it. But that's you know, that's my call. And of course, does it change now with the game over with? And maybe it does. You know, because I'll be thinking about, you know, if you have to, excuse me, if things was better in terms of, if things was better are fairer. You're looking at a 3rd round draft pick and Zach Bowen versus an undrafted guy, Nephi Sewell. Nephi Sewell's he plays special teams really well. When he gets in the game, he makes plays, and he's performed a lot better than Zach Bowen. There is no reason why Zach Bowen should be on this team. No disrespect to Zach Bowen. I'm not trying to take your job away, but you pretty much gave it away, brother. Your bad coverage, being out of position, that type of stuff. And I know that the Saints are trying to preserve the 3rd round pick because they're trying to give him every opportunity to make the team. So they're going to be a lot more patient with these guys as opposed to undrafted guy. They feel like they could find that type of guy anywhere. But, that's the politics in the decision-making process. Like, did Nephi Sewell do enough to unplant Zach Bowen in the mind of Dennis Allen, who's the key decision maker? Only time will tell there. But Isaac Yiadom, to me, did well enough to be able to make this team. Ugo Amadi. So there was like 4 or 5 guys that you look at and say, damn, I have to really think on this, because the rest of them didn't do nearly as enough to kind of make you think on it. Like if Grupe hits that 60-yard field goal, do I think on replacing Will Lutz with Blake Grupe and he hits a 50 and a 60-yarder in the matchup? No. But what I will do is I will make sure that if that happens, that when he kicked that 60-yard field goal, I understand that I had seen something and he might have tweaked something and I have to put him on the IR for next year. That's what I would have definitely done. Blake, that's the Blake Gilligan philosophy. But anyway, Saints lose 17-13, man. We finish out 2-1 on the season. And it's all good. Slim says, I don't see how Pete makes the team. The dude was getting bullied. Indeed, bro. I think he still makes the team. I just don't think he starts right away. You remember Andrews Pete missed a lot of time because of the injury. If he's healthy, like if he's really healthy, and the Saints was really giving him a lot of reps to get him ready. And listen, it's like 2 weeks from now and the start of the season. So it's a lot of time, once the Saints make the cuts and they start getting ready for the Tennessee Titans between now and then. And you got to understand, when the starters get together, it goes up a level. We don't have to focus on all this other stuff. The starters get the bulk of all of everything. So James Hurst at the guard position to me is really good. I love Hurst the guard. Not too much crazy about him as a tackle, but love Hurst the guard. Andrews Pete, if he's super like 100% healthy and playing his game, that puts Hurst where he belongs at the swing tackle position or the swing guard position, swing offensive lineman, the 6th lineman off the bench. But we'll see how it all goes, fam, moving forward, because it could all change. Jordan Howden makes the team, Jarrell. In my opinion, I think he does make the team. I put him on my list. I think he's the future of the safety position. A lot of the guys that we had here now are Tyrann Mathieu toward the end of his career. Marcus May missed 5 or 6 games last year due to injury. Plus, he's going to be suspended 3 games for the DUI that he picked up at the Jets. So Jordan Howden, and then you got JT Gray, and JT Gray is a good special teams player, but he's not a very good safety player. And plus, he suffered I don't know if it's a stinger or whatever's going on. But we'll have more on that tomorrow. Chris, I'm wondering if Pete or Zach Bowen was going to stand out. Hot take: Traquan Smith equals Brandon Coleman. Yeah. Demi says, Q, whatever happened to the other kick returner we got this offseason? Kiki Cote was released. He was put in the street. Several weeks ago, I want to say. Let me see if I can pull up the waiver wire. Give me a second. I'll pull up the waiver wire, because y'all be looking out for the NFL, the whodatdaily.com Saints transaction tracker to be having all the latest cuts. And you can see right here, that Cote was released on the 11th. And they needed to free up a spot for Jalen Smith. When they brought him aboard, they put Kiki Cote, the kick returner, in the street, and he was signed by the Miami Dolphins. They also released the other wide receiver. We had James Washington for Darrell Williams. Washington signed with the Colts at the time, so I don't know if he makes the cut, but I know he was picked up by the Colts. Just a little backdrop on that. But yeah, but outside of that, man, all I can say is that we're looking at everything. And it's going to be interesting as we get ready to see the remaining picks that the Saints make, and that'll all happen. Family. It'll all happen tomorrow. So we'll have it all covered. So y'all just be keeping your eyes glued to See, so shout out to you, Dim. Appreciate you. And with that being said, fam, I'm gonna get ready to get out on that. Listen, I appreciate all the family members tonight for popping in and tuning into the stream. Much love to the fam. We will return tomorrow and we will have another recap. I'll bring in Papa Q and we'll go over the games stuff. We'll play more post-game press conference as well from the Black and Gold. We'll also, go over, probably try to do another projection, roster projection for 3, because we're going to react to a lot of the cuts, because really Tuesday's supposed to be the deadline. I think it's Tuesday at 4 p.m. when all of the cuts, the 53-man roster is supposed to be completely assembled. But between now and then, you're going to get the remaining cuts from the Saints team as they bring out the big rusty scissors. Every year we bring out the big rusty scissors for the cut day. We'll also not only find out who will make the active roster, but we'll also know who's on our practice squad as well going into the season. So it's always an interesting time of the year. So with that being said, I'm getting ready to get out on that. Listen, I shout out to all of the family members. Appreciate y'all chiming in. Had a ball with y'all. Sorry about some of the sound issues we had early on. I was trying a new Bluetooth, right there, Bluetooth system right there. Hope it worked pretty well. It looked like most of the family members was hearing me pretty good. Now I know how I got it pretty good. That'll be what we do. And I think that is, it was pretty fun doing it like that. I had to change it up a little bit, but more than likely, thanks for all you guys for your support. Much love to you. God bless you. And listen, I'm gonna return on Monday's stream. We'll recap some more of this stuff, and we'll look forward at the recent cuts the Saints have made, and more interviews and all that great stuff from the Black and Gold. So with that being said, y'all have a wonderful rest of your night, and also you have a fantastic start of a positive week tomorrow, and we'll all talk about it on the afternoon. Much love, and who that to you.